Hi everyone, you're listening to my Québec City podcast where many English-speaking students all around Québec City talk about various interesting subjects.
We're your favorite SLC business students, Laura-Lee and Anne-Sophie, and we're going to be your hosts for today. Both of us are school-oriented and like to travel, and that is how our subject emerged, combining studying and traveling. We did a bit of research on the subject, and we thought that what we learned could be helpful for other people as well. So today we will be getting into the subject of student travel, talking about studying abroad and helpful tips for traveling.
So now we have to talk about university. We're almost at that stage where we gotta apply for where we want to go and what we want to go in. There are many options such as staying where you live here in Quebec City for us, but we want to travel. We want to go elsewhere and travel. So what are our main options?
We have studying abroad and gap years. So for studying abroad, there are many different options that we can have. We can completely move to another city or country and stay elsewhere and go to another university, or we can study abroad with a program from our hometown.
There's also the option of like distance learning and doing your class online and traveling where you want to go at any time you want.
Yeah, exactly. And well, for the different programs, for example, we're here in Quebec, so we have Université Laval, and they have international programs, and they have also the Canadian exchange, where you can go to one of their 10 Canadian universities.
There's also, as I said, the option of distance education. Basically, there's like 3 types of distance education, which is distance education. All the courses are taken remotely by web or ETV channel mail. There's also online learning, which is the access to course and learning material, and it requires a computer and an internet connection. And the hybrid program, which is online, part-time, and in-person the other.
But would you like doing your university online?
I don't know. Personally, for me, it's really hard to concentrate online. Yeah. I think distance education would be better for me because I could do all my course when I want instead of online learning when you have to do it.
Yeah, you have to be there at certain times.
Yeah, but at the same time, I don't know if I would be able to keep a schedule. I would prefer to go like full-time at school.
In person?
Yeah. But I think it's a great option if you want to travel and not stay too long at one place.
I think I'd like in person better also.
Yeah.
Because I loved online school in secondary school. But in Cégep, like we had 2 weeks and in Christmas time, and I just couldn't concentrate. I tried so hard.
Yeah, but I felt like I was still on vacation.
Yeah, I don't know.
I don't know how the motivation level would be.
I think what would be really hard is getting there and adapting.
For example, if you're going alone, your parents are leaving you at the airport. That would be hard, but if they would come with me for a week just to settle there before school, I feel like this would be easier.
Yeah, no, they have to come. I'm not going over there on my own, and I'm not... Like, I'll be over there on my own, but, like, I need them to help me set up and do everything and just come with me.
I think a big factor of missing home would be if you're going alone or going with someone.
For sure. But I think I'd like to go with a friend, honestly.
Same.
Because going there completely alone, that's hard. Because there needs to be an adaptation period, and there will be for sure, like, everybody's gonna have that, but, like, the period that you feel kind of alone in a new city, where you don't really know anyone yet.
But, yeah, for university, especially if we travel, I would like to have someone with me.
Yeah, for sure.
It's like, if something goes wrong, you can always turn to that person. As if you were alone and something goes wrong, you can't call your parents to ask them to come.
Well, that person becomes your family, I think, in a sort of way.
Yeah.
And You'll always have that bond with them, I think. For the last one that we have today is traveling tips.
Yeah. You did more the research for that.
Yeah.
So what did you learn?
Well, I think there are many different tips depending on what you're going to do. So I think it's important that you do your research depending on what you want. But overall, the tips that often came back is pack light. Because, you know, it's not always necessary to bring 10 pairs of jeans and like 10 hoodies. Yeah. So pack light is one of the big tips. Even in airports, like when you can travel light, you can bring your baggage with you on the plane.
And it doesn't cost you anything.
Yeah, it doesn't cost you anything. And for example, we went to British Columbia this summer. And I think it was something like $80 to put your suitcase like in the thing where they put everyone's
suitcase.
Yeah. So the first tip was packing light. The second is instead, like a mistake that most people do is trying to, like, for example, if they go somewhere, they try to see everything.
Yeah.
Absolutely everything. Instead of staying put in one place and really getting to know this one place well.
Yeah.
So that was one of the tips.
What's been popular in our generation is maps that you put little dots on them where you've been. Yeah. And I feel like this can be confusing because most people want to see the whole world, go everywhere, but you won't enjoy your experience as much if you are always running to see the next thing instead of appreciating what's there.
Where you are now. See more of one place rather than going around
and see a lot of places.
Yeah.
Okay, next.
So for the third traveling tip is, well, we talked about this a little earlier today, but being careful with who you go with.
Yeah.
Sometimes, like we said, a person that would be super good friend at home is maybe not the best person to go traveling with.
Yeah.
Because as we said, seeing a person at school or a couple times a week to seeing them for a whole trip every waking hour is totally different.
Yeah, and I feel like you have to trust the person you're going with.
Yes, you do.
Because they're gonna be like the only person there with you who you can trust, who you can count on. Like, if they're gonna leave you in the middle of a city you don't know.
No, you really have to trust the person, and I feel like you have, I don't know.
I feel like you have to have life baggage with them. I don't know how to say it.
I get what you mean. Like, you have to, like, you need to have known them for a while and trust them really.
And know the type of person they are.
Yeah, you really have to trust them, and I think I need to know, like, that my travel buddy would be there with me, pretty much all the time.
And I feel like when you're with someone you're yourself with, it's so much better, and you can meet new people.
And it's more fun. You're less stressed. So let's move on to the saving tips. The first one, I think, is cook your own food.
Yeah.
Or try to eat as the locals do. So don't, like, waste all of your money on restaurants or fancy coffee. Like, you can have a fancy coffee
once in a while.
Fancy everything. But if you're on a budget and you want to keep your budget, I think that a way of helping is making your own food.
Yeah. And you can still enjoy the food they have.
Yeah.
While you do it yourself.
And being kind of a picky eater, I think that if I was to eat as the locals eat, I'd prefer cooking it on my own and actually knowing what I'm putting in there.
Because there's a lot of exotic food that you don't know what they have, or you don't like certain ingredients. And when you do it at home, you can choose what you put in and
I don't know.
leave what you don't like.
That's a tip. Another tip is to try to not be in hotels. So try to be in Airbnbs, or even depending on where you're going, in a van, and try to stay outside of town. So don't go in the big town or the big city, or it's gonna be costly.
Not in the center of the city or
exactly.
region.
Yeah.
I feel like we've seen Airbnbs in van have been really popular lately.
Yeah, especially vans. Once again, it depends on the personality type.
And if you're someone that doesn't like clutter or that doesn't like to live in small spaces, maybe a van is not for you.
Yeah.
Maybe you can find cheap Airbnbs.
I prefer Airbnbs, honestly. I did both, and I prefer Airbnbs.
Something that goes with it is don't pre-book everything.
Yeah.
That's something that would stress me out, personally. Some people are more spontaneous and like to go day by day, but I like to know what I'm doing.
I need to know where I'm gonna go before.
Because I feel like what you're doing in the day is not that.
I think I get. Are you saying like your activities, you can be more spontaneous, but like the place that you're gonna stay
is something more stable?
Yeah,
because you can change your schedule of activities depending on the weather or what you're feeling to do that day, but where you stay.
Because I feel like if I were to do that and not pre-book everything, I'd spend my whole day stressing about what I would do to like my sleeping arrangement, and I think about that the whole day, and it would just ruin my day and overall my trip. So
you might look for a place to stay all day and lose a beautiful day that you could have spent.
Yeah, exactly.
So I feel like this tip wouldn't necessarily apply to us, but
can apply to somebody else.
Yeah.
Final tip for saving is to work while you're traveling. Of course, depending on what kind of trip you're doing. If you're doing like a 1 week trip to somewhere, don't get a job. But if you're taking like a gap year, for example, it can be a good idea to get a job.
Depends. Like, if you're traveling to the United States, they speak English. You know English, you speak frequently, can be good. But if you go to, for example, Germany, where they speak German, and you don't speak German, you only speak English.
But there are many different jobs.
Yeah. Like because I think like mostly like customer service that could be hard, but there's
because my aunt, she did a lot of traveling in her young age and she told me once that I think, I don't know if it was, I think Indonesia.
Indonesia.
Yeah, Indonesia. Yeah, and she went with one of her friends. Yeah. And they had a job where I think they would cut open mangoes or something on the beach.
That you don't need to speak German for
German.
Whatever the language
you don't need to speak a language. Yeah. So, get a job if you can to save your money. So for budgeting, I read that a good way to budget for your travel is to make a daily budget, read online to get to know like what a day in costs where you're going, because that varies a lot depending on the place you're going, and make a budget of what it will cost you per day, and then add other expenses such as your flight, your activities, where you're gonna stay, insurance,
cell phone,
cell phones, things like that. So make a budget to know what you're gonna need, what money you're gonna need to bring over there, and put your money aside. So we know we've been talking for a while now, so you might have lost track of what we were talking about. So we'll do a quick summary of what we said for you. First of all, we elaborated on the subject of studying abroad, and then we said different tips, such as keeping a budget and getting ready for a trip.
So we had so much fun doing this podcast for you. We hope you liked this episode and that you learned something valuable about traveling and studying. Thank you for listening and come back for other episodes of my Québec City podcast. We were your hosts, Anne-Sophie and Laura-Lee, and we're signing out.